Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. So we're going to talk about the narcissist and the empath. It can be different variations as well, but we're going to talk about boundaries, expectations, and manipulation. What's the difference? Why do we need them? Why do we not need manipulation? So boundaries, those are like the deal breakers, and expectations are what's important to us. So I started thinking about this because, as you know, I'm a teacher, if you've watched my channel, and we need to set clear expectations in the classroom. And there's a reason for that. So things go along smoothly. So there's something to focus on. And what's important to keep things safe and running smoothly. Boundaries, what you can't do. So when you're in a relationship, there are certain boundaries that you don't want broken. It's to keep you safe. So let's say you don't want anal sex, and that's your boundary. We can't do that. And manipulation is when the person wants to break down your boundaries. So they'll utilize different tactics to get you to do something against what you want. So what's important is to set the boundaries, to let them know the expectations that you can't have your boundaries broken. So as you start a relationship, we kind of go with the flow, and we don't always discuss everything because, really on your first date, you don't want, hi, I'm Cynthia, no anal sex. It's kind of just not what you do, because you're not even sure if you're going to sleep with the person. And so it starts to get difficult as a relationship with a narcissist goes along, because they think they can get whatever they want. So sometimes people break their boundaries, and then they start feeling uncomfortable, and then they might change up things. But the manipulation and expectations are control tactics. And I want you to listen to what I'm trying to say. Now, your expectations, let's even, you expect to have dinner every day. You want them to spend the night with you every night once you're married, things like that. You expect it, and letting them know that that's your safe spot. You're not going to feel safe if they spend the night at somebody else's house, like a guy, like a buddy's house. So they can either say yes or no to that. But if you don't say what your expectations are in the beginning, it's going to feel that they're being controlled. So the narcissists often will use manipulation tactics to get what they want, because they didn't realize the expectations, or they did realize the expectations and they didn't like them, but they agreed to them. So they're going to start saying their car broke down so they can get drunk and spend the night at the buddies, or they fell asleep, or whatever it is. So your safe spot is gone. And, when you try to discuss it, the narcissist will take that as a personal attack. Especially if they're doing something shady, like spending the night at, in a heterosexual at a girl's house or whatever. So why do we need boundaries? To keep us safe. Expectations, to give the person the understanding of what a deal breaker is. I expect, if we get married, we're going to try to have kids, different things, whatever is important to you. And if they're clear, then people can make the decision. When it's manipulated, you do make a decision, but you make a decision based on false information. So if you're going to buy a house and the plumbing's bad, you can evaluate it and decide if it's worth it. But when you're basing information or your decision off of information that is faulty, it's a bad decision most of the time. And then you start putting your guard up and you start acting different. Because I've done a lot of research on how usually the narcissist starts some kind of abuse, and we react to it. And some of the ways that we react are kind of abusive sometimes too, where we yell. So it's not, they say that the victim of the abuse is not the one at fault. Just like if someone's attacking, you're going to fight back. You're not an abusive person, you're reacting. So we still have to control it, but there's a off balance where the narcissist doesn't realize what they did, or they don't want to hear about it. So when we react, they feel hurt, so they're going to react to that, and everything just starts this snowball. So it's hard to get back from that sometimes, because a lot of narcissists will keep every little reaction that we've done as personal attacks. And since they don't take accountability, they don't see that they were in the wrong. So they feel that they're being abused, even though they often manipulate. And it gets really confusing because there's that black and white thinking. Narcissists will do that. Once they get to a certain point, they discard, and it's hardcore. But I know when we're going through our abuse, I see all the comments where people are like, F him or her, like, I'm done, never want to see that person again. That's that black and white thinking. And I get it. It's a protection mode. To where you broke too many boundaries too many times, and I can't deal with it anymore to protect myself. But the narcissist, they see people, and it's when you truly love someone, it comment below, because I know there's all these different, we've all have our childhood injuries, our life experience, the way we perceive things throughout our lives. We're molded and we're changed. Our brain changes. Because I was reading something about the anxiety that people go through and some of the things that they do that can be seen as rude. They cancel plans. They can be short with people sometimes. They're quiet. Not interacting in social situations as enthusiastic as they normally would. And a lot of times too, that's what the narcissist does. So it gets really confusing. Is somebody just dealing with some anxiety, or are they this person who's manipulating and not caring? Because when you're going through anxiety, you do need to focus on yourself a little more. So we are trying to understand people. Is it a narcissist? Is it somebody going through a bad time? Does this person care? Do they not care? And when you're empathetic, you want to understand because you do love the person. The narcissists, they don't like to communicate. And if they do, they don't emotionally communicate. They like to talk. They love to talk. And the other thing too that they said about anxiety is sometimes you will speak more than you should. It's like a nervous response when you're uncomfortable. Like if you're anxious at a social gathering, you just talk. And there's some anxiety with the narcissist. Narcissists feel their anxiety. They're triggered. Narcissists are triggered from the outside, and some people are triggered from the inside. So when you do something, this is where it gets interesting. They don't react. So hard to explain. If they see you doing something, and not even necessarily wrong, they will attack onto that, to where you don't know where it's coming from. You wear a red dress and you didn't realize that reminded them of their aunt beating them when she was wearing a red dress. Little triggers are what causes the problems. And the narcissist will attack your triggers, because if they feel triggered, whether it's you wearing a red dress or you having a bad day and getting snippy because you're dealing with anxiety, because as the relationship starts to fall apart, you start to feel anxious too. So the balance is off. The reactions aren't safe for either party. And the narcissist will take every one of your insecurities and throw it back at you because they feel insecure or unsafe. And the manipulation that they do, it can be so harmful. Even during that discard stage, they can sometimes manipulate you purposefully into a fight. There's a lot of purpose in what they do, not always, but if they will manipulate you into breaking up with them because they don't have the guts to do it, and that's extra abuse they're going to put onto you. And instead of just, because you can even ask, like, is it over between us, or are we going to work on it? And they'll be like, and it's like, they don't give concise answers. So if you love the person, you might be trying to work through it, but then they're going to purposely not show up, and you waste a lot of time with a narcissist. And their entitlement causes them to manipulate, to lie, to hide their shame. And it's such a toxic relationship. And it's scary because, you thought you were in a safe spot, but just it's going to happen with the new supply, just like it happened to you. Other relationships that they've had, there's going to be that balance. And who started it? It doesn't matter who started. I mean, it does, but when it starts to fall apart, it's just toxic. So if it's not getting better, if people aren't working on it, if they're not upholding, the narcissist loves to repeat patterns, and you got to look for patterns. If somebody did something one time, it's up to you if you forgive it or not. But when it's a pattern, the narcissist starts to feel that you're never going to leave. That when you say, I mean it, like, you have to mean it. And, there's times, I relate things like that to my dad. I wanted this clubhouse when I was a kid, and he kind of encouraged me to, I saved money for it. We bought blueprints to build it. And then he kind of, I think, changed his mind, where he wanted me happy, but maybe he didn't realize that I was going to save the money because I was so young. But he's very value oriented, to where, is a pool going to help the value or decrease the value of the house? Is a clubhouse in the back going to make it better or worse? So maybe it was something. He's not a narcissist, but rest his soul. But sometimes we go through life and we're like, I'm uncomfortable with that. I thought I could do it. Like my dad was probably like, I thought I could do it. But over time, you're like, I can't. So it wasn't a male intent. So sometimes we can overlook that. It still hurts us. But the narcissist makes promises where they never even think about it. Like my dad at least thought about it and maybe became uncomfortable with it. But, the narcissist will promise it with no intention of following through. Sometimes they intend on it, just like us. Sometimes we intend to purposely, meet with someone, but then life happens. But set your boundaries. Let people know your expectations. Ask what others are. But manipulation is going to destroy a relationship. The lies are going to destroy a relationship, even if it floats by for a little while. Once people start catching on to the manipulation, they're going to be hurt about it. They're going to feel taken advantage of. They're going to want to either discuss it and we can't always see the manipulation until it's too late. So make sure you know what your boundaries are, make them clear. And the expectations versus manipulation. Expectations are stated, and manipulation is a way around the expectations to get what that person wants. So there is a difference, but topic requests are always welcome, and I hope you have a great day.